Hey, it's me, Johnnie Walker. I think last week I promised I would tell you about an incident that occurred last spring during my long hiatus. So here it is. Back in April, on the 20th, actually, a little after 12:30 in the morning, Wendy was asleep on the couch downstairs in the living room, and I was asleep upstairs here, right over there, in bed. I start to wake up hearing noise in the hall, banging and wood crackling. We have a folding sliding door there to keep the cat, she's right there, imprisoned up here. So I thought Darby was trying really hard to bust out. I mean, way harder than usual. Wendy, at the bottom of the stairs, is getting the same wake up. She yells, "What's going on up there?" I get up, wobble over to the hallway, and see something, a piece of wood wiggling through the slats of the door. So I open the door, and a guy is standing there. "Who are you?" "I am not here." "Well, what are you doing?" "You don't see me." "Well, what are you doing here? What?" You are not here." "Well, who are you again?" I'm Daniel." "Daniel, why are you here?" "I am not here." Just total Jedi mind trick, and it's working. I don't know if I'm dreaming or awake. Did I oversleep? Is he working on the house? Did we hire this guy? His voice was so pleasant and calming. And Wendy is hearing the conversation up there, and she's getting a little concerned. Excuse me, why are you here?" "I am not here." So I yell downstairs, "Wendy, do you see somebody up here?" Wendy looks up the stairs and she says, "Yeah, somebody's there." And she goes for her phone. I guess call the police. So I hold up a finger, just 1 second, and I reach over and to the doorway, and hanging up over there on the doorway, I have this item here. It's a monopod that I keep by the door for precisely this type of situation. So I raise it up over my head and say, "You have to leave." And he says, "I am not here." I said, "Get the fuck out of here." And you got to say that, or else people don't take you seriously. And so he turns and heads down the stairs, and we walk him through the living room, out the front door, and then down the walkway and out the front gate, and we lock it behind him and call the police. So while we're waiting for the cops, we look at the security video. The guy had been on the property for 2 hours. We don't know where he came over the fence. He just appeared on the video. He hung out in the front yard for an hour, watching the fish and the turtles in the pond, and lounging on the furniture, and of course checking the front door. Then he went down the side and checked that door, and then into the backyard, where he became a toddler, playing with the exercise equipment, vandalizing the car, and some other stuff. He tried to wash his nasty ass blanket in the pool. So he had been there for about an hour before he decided to break the glass in the back door and let himself in. So he entered the kitchen and found 3 plates of vegetables that Wendy had air fried earlier that day. He combined them into one plate, and I don't know if he had planned to sit down and eat or to wrap it to go. Instead, though, he decided to explore the house. He walked through the dining room, through the living room where Wendy had fallen asleep watching a show on her iPad. And he had to have seen her there on the couch, with the sound and the light from the screen on her. He walked right on by her. And that, by the way, is the part that still freaks me out. So, and then, of course, he went upstairs, and you know the rest of that story there. My dog, Sassy, slept through the whole thing. We had another dog, Ellie, staying with us in the guest room. She usually barks at the slightest sound. This time, not a yip. Until the police arrive, because she knows who the real danger is. When the police got there, we showed them the video and the damage, and twice, as we told them the story, one of the cops says, "Wow, that's scary." Well, thank you, officer. Now, Wendy thinks this whole incident is hilarious. It took me a while to get there. The next day, our handyman came and welded some spikes on top of our gate. We have an 8-foot fence around the whole house, but it's only 6 feet at the gate, where people normally come in, and that's where I've jumped over the fence, and I assume that that's where he did as well. But we also have an alarm. We just never used it when we were at home. We use that alarm every night now. The fact is, we were lucky Daniel was a gentle soul and not some violent psycho. Things could have gone much, much worse. I suppose he is also lucky that I didn't know what he had done to my car. 3 weeks after Daniel dropped by, another guy pulled his head up over the fence to yell at Wendy and her client as they worked out in the backyard. At least he was friendly. 2 weeks after that, another guy was drawn to our homeless beacon 4 times in one day. On the third visit, he climbed over our newly installed spikes to get into our yard. Now, those 2 guys came at noon. The only thing that stopped me from murdering the last guy was my own security cameras. Just so you know, if you got that Ring camera, there's evidence. Whatever you're up to, the evidence is in the cloud. So there. But things have changed a little around here. We use the alarm every night, as I mentioned. We got spikes. We hired armed response. We've called them 3 times now about people camping out around our house. They have handled the nuisance without shooting anyone. More lights, more cameras, looking for a stylish brand of razor wire that we can put around the perimeter. We talked about a gun, but I'd probably just use it for my own serial killing. LA is a big city with a lot of homeless and not a lot of solutions. 22 years ago, I could have easily become a Daniel if a few things hadn't gone my way. I could still get there, who knows? I'm grateful that I can buy a stranger a hamburger or give a guy a pair of jeans out of my closet, but they can't live here or drop in and fix themselves a plate of food. Affordable housing is a complex problem that requires a bigger solution than most of us are willing to pay for. We didn't put up an 8-foot fence so that I could murder homeless guys in my front yard, though that's as good a reason as any. We have no plan to move anywhere, so we have to be creative. Maybe plant some bougainvillea. Maybe we need a bigger dog. That means more treats for Sassy. Or maybe your breath will protect us.